Hello everyone and welcome back to WAW Bandai Product and Figure Review. Today we got another cool special aircraft from a really old movie series based off of the 1995 Macross Plus movie. So let's take a look at this really cool aircraft here. This is the Macross Plus YF-19 prototype aircraft featured in what I would almost call the Top Gun of mechas. So this is looking like a really cool model. Again, this is a 1/100 scale. So this is going to go with most of the 1/100 scale Gundams. But the ironic part is that this is a high grade. So this is actually pretty dang tiny if you think about it. If this is a high grade quality in 1/100 scale, you don't see that very often. As you can see, this is a 2023 release, but this aircraft had a preview back in 1994, and the movie Macross Plus came out as a 3-part series, which I currently own and love. This is the main test unit that we are introduced to from the Macross franchise. And this is saying something because Bandai mostly doesn't do these kinds of kits. I do have a few of these Bandai ones, but this is brand spanking new. I hope they give us the other one too, so those two would go really well with each other. But let's take a look at the box. Traditional Macross aircraft have 3 different forms. You have the standard flight mode, a mix of robot and aircraft mode, and then pure aircraft mode. So this is giving us all 3 possibilities to transform this aircraft. The downside, based off of what this little spitted spot right here, shortcuts, meaning this aircraft does not fully transform in the sense you physically have to take certain parts off to transform it into the varied robot instead of having it be several thousands of pieces that does it. But at the moment, the box art, I should say, is not too bad. It gives us a general look at it. It's more of a desert tan kind of look for the unit. As we move over to this side, we have several poses for the units. So let's go into so yeah, we have several good parts here. We have the parts here. I'm trying to make sure I'm not causing any glare. You can see the different transforms from the aircraft, mid-robot, and the full robot. And it has actually fairly good articulation, as you can see. And here's a little reference image for like what the pilot's going to be looking like. On the side, it kind of gives us another overview of like front and back and what the roughly a good paint scheme for like the pilot actually. So that actually gives us a really good take on that. So that is the box. So let's roll opening and let us take a look on the inside of this wonderful YF-19 from Macross Plus. So without further ado, let's roll opening. Alright, so this is the, like I said, top of the box. So it's actually fairly good size. That's basically my hand, and that's basically for the width. So it's a good handful. No pun intended. So let's take a look and open this up. So, yeah. We have several runners here. There's a special thing there. So let's just set that right there. Alright. And this is what we really want to look at first, is the instruction manual! Alright, so this is the instruction manual for the YF-19 shortcut high-grade 1/100th scale. So this is actually going to be a fairly small aircraft technically, because most 1/72nd scales are about yay big. So this is actually slightly smaller than a 1/72nd scale aircraft. So, yeah. So, again, this gives us some clips from the movie series from Macross Plus. Highly recommend. And, again, it's variable transformations. And this is actually the part that's going to be kind of helpful for any people that are going to be needing to paint the pilot. Here is a scheme of the pilot suit. So, you're going to be needing more of a blue and white, and green for some of the details, I should say. So that's basically it. Again, this is a 2023 model, so this is actually in English for a lot of the descriptions, if anyone that can't read Japanese. So it gives us a brief synopsis of the series, brief synopsis of the aircraft itself, or the mecha, and gives us what the pilot looks like and the name of the pilots. So that's actually pretty cool. Let's actually just let's just get straight into the instruction manual. Alright, so this is actually where it actually tells you, again, doing a really nice job with giving us the variable changes for like step 1, step 2, and step 3 to give us from robot to this aircraft to this. So that's actually looking pretty good description wise. And again, it shows us all the parts that we are going to need. And as you can see, this is where it's the quick change parts for some of these. Again, this gives us about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runners. So that's actually not too bad. And it gives us a decal sheet here, which we will get into that. Hopefully these are water slide decals. If not, we have some problems. Because again, I personally do not like stickers. But if you want to just do a straight build, yeah, the stickers are going to be just fine. Again, just gives us some general tools that we might need, some instructions on how to cut out parts and stuff like that. And again, this is all in English now, so this is going to be much easier for beginner modelers, because to me, this is not a beginner's kit. This is what I would say about intermediate. But the instructions, since they are actually in English, I would actually recommend this for beginners too, because you can actually read the instructions. So let's move on to the actual assembly portion of this. This actually shows us a pretty good, like, full-on, like, film, like 35mm film style assembly for this. So it looks like the assembly is fairly straightforward. A few of these parts are actually going to be really helpful, because you may be able to paint these parts separately without too much worry about how the pieces go together. So this is basically the torso portion. This section is for the arms. Another section for the arms. And again, we have sections for the lower portion of the unit, the head unit, and how everything gets assembled. So this actually does a very nice step-by-step job of showing us how to put this together. It does already show us when we get to decaling, putting pieces already together, so you may need to pre-spray certain parts depending on what you're wanting to do. There are, because you have assembly for stickers or other paints that you might want to actually paint this type of detail on. So it keeps going on. Same thing with all the other parts for some of this that you would have stickers that you would put on. Then we have the weapons, special effects parts. As we can see, it has a spinning arm here. Again, we have another section parts on how to change from one part to another. And then we have the assembly for going into its aircraft mode. And so that's basically how you get it into there, show those parts. So it's pretty self-explanatory, very easy. You could almost try to do like multiple different aircraft doing different things. The only thing I would say, from when I kind of glanced at this, is dealing with the canopy. That's going to be kind of an interesting feature, because to do this right, you may actually need to mask this unless there is stickers that can actually cover this up for the frame for the canopy glass. Because that's going to be the only hard part, because all aircraft have canopies, and depending on what type of aircraft you're doing, will determine on how much you actually need to mask to paint the canopy. Moving on to this, we're getting closer to the final pages, and this is kind of like where the quick or short change applies to this on how we can actually put this unit together. So this would be kind of interesting if you had 3 units of this that you can actually show each one of its own transformation, which will make a cool diorama idea for anyone out there that wants to do that, because this is a fairly easy kit to do, and it does come with its own stickers. So you could always experiment with that too. So you have the basic assembly, and here we go. So we have more assembly for the nozzles, putting it together, and all that to bring it into the aircraft. Again, this has landing gear bays that you can have closed and open. The lovely thing about snap tight kits is that painting these will not be too bad. I've already painted 1/72nd scale wheel wells for this. It'll be my first time doing for 1/100. But overall, it's going to be standard wheel well painting. Or you could just have it closed up and not have to worry about painting tires or the gear wells or anything like that. And then having to paint the inside. So you could easily just do a flight mode. Its weapons just go like right in the center bay, or on the belly of the aircraft in its aircraft mode. And it has variable thrusters, so this might be a fun idea to, play with jet exhausts and stuff like that. Again, it does show the wheels and how to assemble them. So it looks like the tires are solid pieces, but they are separated from the actual gear itself, which is the part the tires go onto. So painting that may not be too much of an issue when you're trying to paint the tires, because you could just paint this white and then paint the corresponding tires if you wanted to do that. There are several colors that you could try to do that, and it shows various parts where you can clip in the wings and fuselage together. So that's really kind of helpful. And lastly, we have the last page, and this is basically the page that shows us all of the decaling or stickers that we can try to do. I did kind of keep this a kind of a surprise, but I do actually have a water slide decal set of the YF-19 for the 1/100 scale. So if I really wanted to, I could do multiples or try one with the water slide. And from what I'm understanding, this does actually have decals for the canopy for the bar. So that's actually really cool that they actually did that, because you don't see that many in many even model airplane kits that they have for the canopy, for the bracing around it. So that's actually pretty cool. So now, since we've gone through the instruction manual, let's start going through the parts. Let's start off with this first one right here. So, first off, this is the sticker sets. So these are standard stickers that you would have to apply, stick on. So yeah, this is why I kind of like the water slides. You can see how nicer they look for the water slides. Sure, there's a lot more parts and stuff for little panels and flap surfaces and stuff like that, but that just adds a lot more detail when you're trying to do a really cool concept or trying to go for more detail. So yeah, you can see the difference in the amount of detail you can do with the water slides. But stickers are still good for those who aren't ready for water slides. So now we're looking at the parts. So these parts are more of a, I would say, a desert yellow, like a desert sand yellow color. So you would need to find a color similar to this, which I actually have I did make a Zaku in desert yellow, so this might actually work for what I am needing. So I need to keep that in mind. The lovely thing is it has beautiful panel lining on here. The amount of detail, again, when you're straight building, you're going to have these flush aftermark looks to it. You can easily maybe buff them out. Try not to sand too much. But when you're wanting to paint, this is really good to go in with panel liner first. Get all these lovely cracks and nooks and crannies and get those panel lined. And then when you spray this, it can give you a nice shadowing. So yeah, that's basically this top part here. So this is mostly the front wing. Now we have C, runner C. This is where we have a lot of the hands. We have the rifle, various intakes for the unit, which this is kind of interesting where you can almost paint these and have these come on and off. From what I'm understanding, it looks like you can actually interchange these. And various other points, like for the head, and doesn't look like the cockpits on this one, or what we like to call the bucket. So that's for that one. Let's move on to the next one that we have here. This one's looking more like duplicate parts again. So, like I've mentioned in multiple videos, duplicate parts are self-explanatory. There are duplicate parts. So these are going to be for like feet, arms, legs, those kinds of parts. And this is looking more like they're towards the feet unit or the exhaust ports for this unit. So yeah, these are going to be really nice. You could do a nice copper color for these units for the feet. So, and also we have the tires. Look how tiny those tires are. So that's going to be fun. When I recommend doing this, I would say spray it white first, then paint black. Because if you do it the other way around, you're just a masochist at that point. Because that's what I would not do, is paint this black first, then try to paint white. White is already painted in the butt, so might as well already just paint it all white and then paint the black for the rubber. And there's actually a black rubber. Again, if you want ease, you don't necessarily need to paint the tires, because you can have the landing gear doors closed. So that's basically for like the back of the feet and tires. So let's move on to this. Alright, Alright, so we do have a little surprise sticker sheet here. So this is going to give us our eyes for the different unit and stuff like that. So definitely we're probably going to be needing to use those at least. Because there are no water slide decals for this. So we will still need to use those. So I'm just going to set those right there. So it looks like this is actually the top portion and bottom portion of the aircraft. So I'm assuming this is the wheel well, or the top portion of the aircraft. This is the bottom portion of the nose. And we have general parts. So we have the flying V, or cardinals as I like to call them for this. We got portions of the nose, back portion of the fuselage for the aircraft. We have the door bays, one that's open and one that's closed, for the bay doors. And so this was runner B1, and so this is runner B2, B2 bomber. We can see the, this is actually going to be the part that's going to be making intakes for this aircraft super easy by looking at this, because I could actually spray this and not have to worry about putting the intakes in, because the actual intake nozzles will actually just slide right in here. So I could literally paint those a separate part and be able to just stick them in here, making it fairly easier that I don't have to mask intakes, because most aircraft don't give you the flexibility of adding in the intake or fans being a separate part. So that's a rare treat, and for me to make this actually, to spray this model. So this actually makes it a lot easier. And again, I love the detail that they have for all of the lines. Again, some of the parts still need to be like a little flushed out a little bit, but it has beautiful detail for all the lines. So panel lining, it's going to be really fun to give you that pop when you're trying to make this look like it's been flying for a long time and all that. So yeah, this is the top part for those. So now we are on our last one here. Alright, so we have our little nubs, and these are PVC parts for the joints that we're probably going to be needing for the arms, legs, and head unit, possibly. So they're very, very tiny, but you see these very common in like 1/100 scale, or actually you see these more in 1/44 scale, but again, this is 1/100, so yeah, make sure you keep those. So again, we have the remaining parts for like the shoulders. Again, this is going to be more of a duplicate part since this is D1. Again, we have the wing, beautiful lines on here, so panel lining is going to be really nice. They're kind of flush, so if you ever wanted to go in with a panel line scriber, you can go back into that. We have the bucket for the aircraft, so general parts for like the head units, which we will need to put like the sticker on and all that. So I would almost recommend doing that later after painting for the primer on this. So that's basically that. Alright, lastly we have our last main part here, and this is actually where we actually have the cockpit, where we have actually a dual seats cockpit. Looks like the pilot is somewhere around here. Looks like he already has like the arms and legs already kind of in the cockpit, and then you have a side cockpit there. The canopy is a nice color, though the thing that I've noticed when I was just rubbing my fingers over this is the leading edge for it is actually it's actually a raised edge, so The only part that kind of sucks is not being able to do a canopy open and see the inside of the cockpit. But again, this is 1/100 scale. You're not going to have that much detail. But for the pilots, it looks like you already have it kind of like in two pieces. So the pilot should be somewhere on one of these runners on the darker sides. But you have some red colors for various parts. We have an energy spin for the hands, and we have various other aerial flaps for this unit, and cardinals and stabilizers. Alright, so that was the unboxing of the brand new YF-19 from Macross Plus. This is a really, really good kit, and I can't wait to actually start putting this together. I may even get 2 more of these for I can actually do the robot, mid, and aircraft, which is more on this side. So again, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. And if you have any future suggestions for any plastic models that are Bandai or any other, since I mostly focus on Bandai for this, but I have done other model kits that I could do reviews over. So if you want to have any particular armor or aircraft kind of be reviewed on here, feel free to put them in the comment section. Again, I hope you like this, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode.